Many foreigners living in Sweden will find it harder to gain permanent residence under new proposals from the Swedish government. Opposition parties hope to increase the requirements yet further. If the bill as it stands passes, residence permits granted for those in need of protection will be time-limited, renewable only if the circumstances under which they were issued still apply. However, it would become easier for people living in Sweden on temporary permits to gain similar permits for family members to join them. Maintenance requirements will be retained, although exemptions will be introduced for families of EU, EEA citizens. The proposal also introduces a new Swedish language and civic knowledge requirement for anyone seeking permanent residence, including those on study and work permits. Full details, possibly to include Swedish language exams and a form of civic knowledge test, will be worked out in a separate process and will not be introduced immediately. Similar requirements will be introduced for citizenship. Expiring this summer, Sweden's temporary migration regulations were introduced in 2016 as a response to Europe's migrant crisis. Last year, a migration committee set up by the Swedish parliament issued a 600-page report on which the Social Democrat Green government drafted a new, permanent bill on migration. The proposal will go to a parliamentary vote and will come into force on July 20 if passed. 4 of Sweden's center-right opposition parties have collaborated on a tougher, alternative proposal that will be voted on in a parliamentary committee. The plan from the moderates, Christian Democrats, Liberals and Sweden Democrats takes a firmer line on several areas in the government's proposed bill. Specifically, the group's proposal would limit residence permits given on humanitarian grounds, put tighter limits on residence permits for relatives of people living in Sweden and introduce tighter language requirements for permanent residence permits. Moderate party leader Ulf Kristersson is confident of a successful committee outcome, which would see the alternative bill put to vote in the main parliament. The group are 2 votes short of a parliamentary majority, so the government's proposal remains the most likely outcome. However, it does point towards a possible future for Swedish politics. The far-right Sweden Democrats have successfully collaborated on a bill with potential coalition partners for the first time. Should such a coalition take power following Sweden's next general election in 2022, the alternative migration bill could well become a reality.